Good afternoon and welcome to the Livingston Parish News Daily Show. I'm Drew Walker, the Community Liaison here at the Livingston Parish News. Thank you for joining me for a few minutes today. Don't forget that we are pushing out content throughout the day. There's a number of ways to stay informed about what's happening in our community. We're on social media. We're here at Facebook. If you're watching us live, you're probably aware of that. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you would like your news on the go, we do have an app. It is free to download. We push out notifications for all of the stories that come out throughout the day, including our breaking news. You can read our breaking news even if you don't have a subscription. It is always free, so it's a great way to stay connected with what's happening right now. Also available without a subscription are our multimedia offerings, which includes both the morning and afternoon daily shows, this one, as well as our long-form podcast, which is called the LPN Weekly. The latest episode of the Weekly covers the election that is coming up in October. It's pretty comprehensive in all of the races that are going to be going on, although we do have some breaking news today. It came out earlier today that we're going to get into in just a little bit, so be sure to stay tuned for that. The multimedia offerings can be found at our website, which is livingstonparishnews.com. To go straight to the podcast or these daily shows, just type in livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. You can also find the Weekly, that's our long-form podcast, on major podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Let's take a look at traffic and weather, brought to us by brproud.com. That's our partners at WVLA NBC 33, as well as WGNB Fox 44. The traffic is pretty rough right now, and it's probably a lot to do with the weather. Right now, the interstate is pretty backed up almost all the way into Denham. Maybe right before you get into Denham, it'll loosen up a little bit, but heading east on the interstate is probably not very fun right now. Also not fun is the intersection of US 190, which is Florida Boulevard and Jubin Road. Heading east, again, is always a little bit of a challenge. It looks like it's pretty well backed up on 190 past Eden Church Road. It also looks like there may be an accident on Jubin Road right before you get to 190, so be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, it's kind of the typical hot spots. Lockhart at Dunn Road always has a little bit of a backup right there at that traffic light. South Range getting off the interstate has some spots, of course. The weather, it was rainy. We posted on Instagram a picture of the clouds rolling in over the office this afternoon. Right now it says it's about 74 degrees with some heavy thunderstorms, and it looks like that's kind of going to be what you're going to get, at least for the afternoon and into tonight, with a low of about 73 and some early evening thunderstorms, about a 90% chance. So we'll turn to the headlines, and we'll start off with that breaking election news. One of the races that was going to be on the ballot in October was for sheriff this year. Incumbent Jason Ard was seeking a third term against an independent candidate, Walter Wesley. He's from the Watson area. However, a lawsuit filed in the 21st JDC alleged that Mr. Wesley did not meet the requirements for qualification to office as a result of unpaid taxes. A letter requesting information was sent to the Louisiana Department of Revenue. The department responded and said that they could not confirm any tax filings for at least the last 5 years. That does not meet the requirements under Louisiana state law to qualify for a run for any office. And so Judge Brenda Ricks ruled that Mr. Wesley did not meet the requirements and ordered that his name be removed from the ballot. Mr. Ard, being the only duly qualified candidate in the race, has won re-election by default and will continue to serve as the Livingston Parish Sheriff. Ward 2 Water District may be expanding to connect with Port Vincent. Earlier this year, Ward 2 Water purchased the water well in Port Vincent, and now Councilman Gary Talbert is hoping to expand the boundaries of the district to include the area of Port Vincent. Talbert said that the district has exercised good business practices and should be extended to take in their recent purchase. Councilman John Wascom proposed that the board be expanded, the board of Ward 2 Water be expanded as part of his district, as well as Bubba Harris's district, will be taken in by the expansion. Wascom's proposal is going to be introduced Thursday night at the Parish Council meeting. Sports fans can rejoice. Football season is nearly here. Albany is headed to Pine for the first true test of Coach Mike Janis's team. He thinks the team is ahead of where they were at this time last year, and he feels pretty good about where they are heading into the season. Over the course of both the spring and the fall practices, the Hornets have been implementing a more pass-oriented offense, and quarterback J.J. Doherty is gelling well with his receiving corps. There's plenty more on Albany heading into the season on our website, so please give us a visit. That's livingstonparishnews.com. We're also going to be releasing our football special section that should be coming out next Thursday, August 29th. That'll have everybody in the parish. Neighbors Federal Credit Union began life as a teacher-based credit union and has never forgotten those classroom roots, says COO Greg Inman in an article by lifestyle editor David Gray. Over the last 5 years, Neighbors has given more than $58,000 to Denham Springs, Walker, and Live Oak High Schools as part of its mascot checking program. That's more than half of the total giving shared among 13 participating schools. Last year alone, the 3 Livingston Parish schools received over $24,000 as part of the program. In addition to the program, the credit union also runs a financial literacy center at Denham Springs and celebrated the grand opening of a full-service branch at Walker this past March, and I got to go to that, and it's a pretty nice facility. So we'll take one more look at traffic and weather. The weather hasn't really changed much, nor has the traffic. It's wet, it's slow going, so take your time and be kind to each other. Once again, don't forget to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We can also be found online at the livingstonparishnews.com. And if you'd like to check out the LPN Weekly podcast, audio and video versions are at our website, again, livingstonparishnews.com/podcast, or on major podcast apps, including Apple, Google, and Spotify. And that's it for the afternoon show. So thank you for watching, and until next time, be well, do good, and keep in touch.